40 cents of white powder, 2 spoons in a gallon of warm water, and the pests just leave your garden alone. You walked out one August morning, coffee in hand. Your bean rows were lace, chewed to ribbons overnight, green worms fat as your thumb hanging off the tomato stems, holes punched through every cabbage leaf. You know the feeling. Aphids stacked 3 deep on the new growth, ant highways up the fence post, and you've barely had the garden a month. Garden center's got a whole shelf for it, $20, $30 a bottle. Same shelf every single spring. Meanwhile, the real fix costs 40 cents. It's already in your house, most likely sitting in your bathroom cabinet right now. Your grandmother knew this one. Her mother knew it too. It was as common as a garden hose. Then it wasn't. Something shifted. The powder went quiet. The bottles got loud. A whole generation grew up never once hearing about it, because nobody earns a dime when you fix it for 40 cents. There's no salesman for a thing that cheap. The folks who bag up the expensive version would rather you forgot it existed. And for the better part of 50 years, you did. Got printed on old feed store handouts once. Then the handout stopped. Nobody pulled it exactly, it just vanished. Here's what stings. Every season you don't know this, you're feeding 2 things, the pests and the people selling you the cure. A wrecked garden isn't just a sad afternoon. It's the jars you meant to can, the money, the whole summer's work, gone in about a week. One bad stretch of worms and your tomato bed is bare stalks. You start over or you quit. I learned this from Harold. Lived 2 doors down from me for 31 years. Retired pipe fitter. Hands like tree bark. No degree, no certificate on the wall. Just 50-odd years of Sundays in the dirt, working out what actually holds up. Harold's garden made mine look like a gravel lot. Tomatoes like softballs. Not one hornworm on the place. I finally leaned over the fence and asked the man straight out, "What's the secret?" He didn't even look up. He told me, then spent a whole afternoon proving it in the dirt. By the end of this, you'll have the entire thing, the exact powder, the exact measure, where you pour it, and the one spot folks ruin the whole batch every time. The hours it works, the hours it'll burn your plants instead, and why it dropped off the back of every fertilizer bag. Need the powder, a bucket, and about 10 minutes some cool morning this week. That's the whole shopping list. But first, the coffee can. On Harold's workbench sat this old rusted coffee can. Folgers, lid long gone. I figured it was screws, washers maybe. Whatever a man keeps in a coffee can for 40 years, it wasn't screws. And what was actually inside that can is the reason Harold's garden never once failed. Hold that thought. There's a buried study too. Real numbers, real soil, real plots. And a reason it never made the evening news. It ties back to a law from 1970. A good law, cleaned the air we breathe. And quietly stripped something out of your dirt. Something your plants need to defend themselves. It's been draining out of American soil for 50 years, and almost nobody connected it. Now, if you're thinking it's July, garden's half gone, too late for me, you're wrong. This is the best time. Harold started a fresh bed in mid-August once, on a bet with me. Outgrew mine by October. I watched it, and I'll be straight with you, the way Harold was with me. This won't wipe every pest off the earth. Nothing does. It knocks them down to where you can handle them. That's the honest promise. That's the one worth keeping. The powder is only half of it. What Harold did with that coffee can, that's the half nobody ever passed down. It starts with one plain sentence, he said, leaning on that fence. 6 words. Once you hear them, you can't unknow it. Here they are. 6 words. Here they are. Feed the plant, the pests leave. That's it. Harold said it, then went quiet, because the words aren't the secret. What he did next is. Everybody you know does the opposite. They chase the bug. Spray it, trap it, dust it, curse it. Harold never chased one in his life. He fed, and the row went still. Here's who can't stand that sentence. The people selling you the chase. There's no repeat customer in a plant that defends itself. A healthy row skips next spring's bottle entirely. This was plain dirt knowledge until about 1971. Then the fertilizer bags changed. The cheap thing got quietly left out, and nobody bothered to tell the gardeners why. One mineral vanished from American soil almost overnight. Not stolen by a company, taken by a law. And it changed every backyard garden in the country without a single announcement. 1970, the Clean Air Act, signed again in 1990. Good for the sky, cleaner rain, less acid. But that old rain used to carry something down to us for free: sulfur. For a century, our chimneys quietly dusted the dirt with it. The law scrubbed it out. The air got cleaner. The soil got hungry. Nobody ever connected the two. There's a county extension record, hard to dig up now, that counted cabbage moth eggs in 2 beds, side by side. One fed Harold's way, one left alone. The untreated row, almost 38 eggs per square foot. Harold's row, 0.3, not 30, 0.3. Same seed packet, same week, same stretch of fence. Aphids, roughly 2/3 fewer on the fed plants. Hornworm damage down about the same. I won't hand you a magic percentage, but the gap was too wide to be luck. I'll give you the exact mix in a minute, the measurement, the temperature, the timing. But rush that part, get it even a little wrong, and you'll scorch every plant you touch. And here's the cruel twist. That fancy fertilizer you're buying, it's packed with potassium. Potassium elbows out the exact mineral your plant is starving for. You're paying to make it worse. Can't patent dirt. You can't run a TV ad for a 40-cent box. So it slipped away. Never banned on paper, just quietly let go of. Harold wasn't a scientist. Retired lineman, climbed poles for 31 years, then spent 40 Sundays a season in that garden, testing one stubborn idea nobody else would touch. Enough holding it back. The powder in that coffee can? Epsom salt. Plain magnesium sulfate. The same box your grandmother soaked her tired feet in. 2 things a hungry plant is screaming for: magnesium, the core of every green cell it grows, and sulfur, the very mineral that law scrubbed out of the sky. Magnesium builds the chlorophyll. Sulfur builds the plant's own defense, the bitter compounds a bug can't stomach. A well-fed plant tastes wrong to them, so they wander off. Go deeper, and it gets stranger. Sulfur feeds the terpenoids and glucosinolates, the plant's built-in bug repellent. You're not poisoning anything. You're arming the plant to defend its own rows. Now the honest part. This won't wipe them out. Nothing on earth does. It knocks them down to where you can actually handle the row. Healthier plant, lighter fight. Every cheap fix Harold ever showed me I've been gathering in one spot: GaryStips.com. No charge, no catch, just the old tricks before you leave here. Now, back to that can. The mix is almost embarrassingly simple. 2 tablespoons, 1 gallon. That's the whole recipe folks paid good money never to learn. And 2 tablespoons is right where most people already go wrong. The water matters more than the amount. Warm, about 90 degrees. Warm, not hot. Get it hot and you cook off the very minerals you're trying to feed. Stir it maybe 30 seconds till the water runs clear. And never a metal spoon, wood or plastic only. Harold was flat stubborn about that, and there's a real reason I'll get to. Mix it and use it fresh, within 4 hours. Let that bucket sit overnight and you've got a jar of plain water. Timing again. With this, it always circles back to timing. And why a coffee can? Harold could have used any jar in that shed. He didn't. He used the can on purpose. And that choice is the one piece nobody ever guessed. But where you pour it, that's the part that's ruined more gardens than any beetle ever did. 1 inch too close, wrong time of day, and you'll burn the plant clean down to a stem. Here's the sliver I promised. Pour that mix against the stem, and you feed a burn straight into the roots you're saving. 6 inches. That number is everything. Measure it out. 6 inches from the main stem, about a handspan, and pour a slow ring onto the soil. Never the leaves. Leaves blister and curl. The water matters more than the powder. Warm, about 90 degrees, blood warm, never hot. Hot cooks it dead. 2 level tablespoons per gallon. That's the whole ratio. Stir with wood or plastic, not metal. Harold was hard on that one. 30 seconds until the water runs clear again. Then you're ready. Use it fresh, within 4 hours of mixing, or it settles and loses its bite. Mix only what you'll pour that morning, not a drop more. Before 8 in the morning. Cool soil, lightly damp. Never dusty dry, never right before a heavy rain. Rain just washes your whole morning down the row. The doses aren't one size. A grown tomato, pepper, eggplant, 1 cupful once a week. That's it. More is not better here. More is a burn. Cabbage, broccoli, the whole brassica family, they're hungrier. 3/4 of a cup, but twice a week. They pull sulfur faster than anything in that bed. Small leafy plants, 1/2 cup once a week. Carrots and beets, 1/2 cup every 2 weeks. Overdo the roots and they'll split on you. Never on seedlings. Not indoors, not transplant day. A tender young root takes it like acid and just quits on you cold. Wait 2 full weeks after you transplant. Then every 7 days, like clockwork. And stop completely. About 3 weeks before your first frost. Push it late, and you tell the plant to grow soft, new leaves right when it should be toughening up for the cold. That backfires every time. Here's the catch I owe you at the fence. This won't wipe the pests out. Nothing safe does. It knocks them down to where you can handle them. The bugs don't hate the salt. Truth's simpler than that. A well-fed plant stops sending the distress smell that draws them in. You're not poisoning, you're strengthening. And if you garden somewhere dry and blazing, Arizona, West Texas, salt can build up. Once a month, flush the bed with plain water. Done. A woman down my road, Della, 71, gardens from a wheelchair now, had given up on her squash. 3 summers straight, the borer took every plant. Her husband used to grow it. He passed 2 winters back. That squash bed was the last living thing of his she was still trying to keep. I handed her Harold's can trick. The 6-inch ring, the morning pour, the 1/2 cup. That August, she filled 2 baskets off 1 bed. She cried right there at her own gate. Not over squash. Over keeping something of his alive. That's what this whole thing is really about. Everything Della used, every dose, every timing chart, I've laid it out plain and free at Gary'sTips.com. No sign-up, no gimmick, just the tricks in one spot. I don't sell the salt. 40 cents a box at any grocery store. I'd be a fool to. Stay right here, though. That can still owes you an answer. Remember Harold's coffee can? Why that can, on purpose, when any jar in that shed would have held water just fine? Because it was never for holding. He'd punch the bottom clean out. He pressed the open rim down into the soil, 6 inches from the stem, every single time. The can was the ruler. Set it down, pour inside the ring, and you physically cannot get too close. The mistake that burns gardens. He made it impossible. That August morning, I walked out to lace where my bean rows should have stood. The next August, after the can, they were solid green clear to the top wire. Same dirt, same bugs. 40 cents and a dead man's coffee can. That's the whole secret, start to finish. And now it belongs to you. Do one thing for me. Down in the comments, tell me what you're fighting this summer and what state you're in. Aphids, borers, hornworms, name it. I read every one. And your grandmother's trick, the one sitting in your comment, wakes the same buried memory in 20 other folks reading right beside you. Subscribe if you want to. Not for my number, for the reason we're all here, dragging the cheap old fixes back into daylight, one at a time. Next time, the single dried leaf from your spice rack that mice will not cross costs about $1, and there's a real study on why they physically can't. Della's squash is back. Harold's can sits on my shelf, and you're done buying the expensive version. That, friend, is recovered ground.